the dream doesn't come true for all of you, but we've got definitely inspiration, insights, strategies to understand what are the things you need to do to get there. Because we're bringing together the CEOs now on the stage of Cerebras and Talabat to explore the journey from early R&D to building trust with millions of customers. And for this powerhouse conversation, we have, of course, also Andrew Feldman, the co-founder and CEO of Cerebras here, a pioneer in AI computing systems. And from the UAE, Tomaso Rodriguez, the CEO of Talabat. They're going to be in conversation with Rhett Power, editor at Forbes, who will be today, who was already today on stage, is again today on stage, and tomorrow is also launching his new book, Header Mental. So please give them a warm welcome. Andrew, Tomaso, and Rhett, welcome. Great to have you.
Hey guys. How's everybody doing today? Good? All right. Thanks for sticking around the afternoon with us. I think we're going to have a fascinating conversation. These guys have made it, right? They have built businesses. They've survived the gauntlet and the grind, and we're going to talk about that today a little bit. So, guys, talk about what it takes to get to where you've gotten. The mental attitude, the self-talk in your own that you have with yourself. Talk about the mental and the price that what you've gone through, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Good to see you all here today. Thank you guys for coming. I think Talabat's been around for 21 years here in the region. I'm not the founder of the company, but I've been lucky enough to lead it for the last 6 years. I think these have been fantastic years, really. Maybe the most challenging time, as you're saying, may seem a bit controversial, but it was actually COVID. COVID was a time where we were super worried because no one remembers it, but the very first few weeks of COVID, orders went literally to zero. Right. Everybody was so worried about who's cooking my food, who's touching my food, who's delivering my food. And we were like, our business is done, right? It's like we went from hundreds of thousands of orders to zero, literally. And we're like, we're done. At the same time, we made a big investments in what we call these dark stores, right? From where we deliver groceries. And it was a big CapEx investment that we made. And we're like, okay, well, what are we going to do with this, right? But then slowly but surely, orders started to ramp up massively. And actually, COVID was a massive booster for our business for the years to come, right? And I think, of course we panicked. Of course we were absolutely not cool in that moment. But I think if you're true to our core, if you're true to your beliefs, and you try to kind of really cut through the noise and ride through that moment, the fundamentals always win, right? And that was a big learning of that time.
Well, I know I ordered at least 5 times a week during COVID, so I get it.
Absolutely.
What was your mental attitude during that time? Like, when things stopped, what did you tell yourself? How did you keep your people motivated?
The cool thing is that everybody was worried and everybody wanted to solve the problem, right? The whole team was like, every day we had a stand-up meeting, we were saying, okay, what are we going to do today to kind of try to solve the problem? And we thought about the craziest solution from, letting customers know what is the temperature of the riders, because we check the riders every day, so put it in the app, or like having this bag-in-a-bag concept, so no people are touching the food and all this kind of. So every day we're really trying something new, and it was, I mean, terrifying from a business perspective, but from a team bonding perspective, was really an amazing experience.
Yeah. Andrew.
Ours is a little different story. We're a deep tech company, and so we set about trying to invent something that had never been done. So historically, chips are the size of a postage stamp, about this big. And we set out to build a chip this big, right? To build a chip the size of a dinner plate. And it was 56 times larger than the largest chip that had ever been built in the history of the compute industry. And we thought that was the way to compete with NVIDIA. That we couldn't be a little bit better, we couldn't be a little bit cheaper, a little bit faster. That if we wanted to take down the king, we needed to do radical innovation. But when you do radical innovation, when you try and invent things that have never been done, they're hard years. And we had a period of time between about 2017 and 2019 when we were spending $6 million a month and we couldn't make one. And every 6 weeks you went to your board and said, nope, can't make it. And how do you keep your guys motivated? How do you keep yourself motivated during these extraordinarily challenging times? And we believed in the methodology. We believed in good engineering fundamentals, that each failure, we did a full failure analysis. We wouldn't make that mistake again. We would improve on each single failure. And then in sort of March of 2019, one worked. And the founders were sitting in a little office. It wasn't a lab. The windows were open and there was a hole in the wall so we could get the cooling in. And it worked. And this was the first time in the 75-year history of the compute industry that anybody had made a chip this big work. And the founders just sat there for 40 minutes, just in awe. And it was one of the great sort of events in my career. And you only get that if you try and do things other people don't do. If you try and invent things that other people haven't invented. And I think you need to find entrepreneurs to come with you on the journey. You need to find engineers who want to solve problems other people can't solve. And then when you're done, you look at what you've built and you say, this is why we're 20 times faster than NVIDIA at inference and in training. It's because we had an idea and we put in the work and we made it happen.
What's your attitude when somebody tells you you can't take on something like NVIDIA?
I think I am only interested in problems that other people say can't be done. I have no interest whatsoever in solving problems that everybody agrees can be done. And I have no interest in hiring engineers who want to do work that's a little bit better than their last project. I think the beautiful thing about being an engineer is we can build things. And we ought to be building things that are better than the last one. Not a little bit, but we ought to be reaching for amazing things. And so when we go to raise money, when we go to hire employees, we're looking for people who would rather fail in pursuit of the extraordinary than succeed at the ordinary. I have no interest in that whatsoever. And we select, right? You want investors who want to be behind the extraordinary. You want engineers who want to be challenged by the extraordinary. Those are the people that we hire and we gather and over decades keep working with us again and again and again because we bring them extraordinary challenges.
That smile on your face when I asked you that question told me everything I needed to know about you. I love that. What has been your biggest mistake? And what did you learn from it?
Biggest mistake.
Or something you do differently than you did?
Something that... I think, maybe I think we can talk about AI, right? Because it's a very, very, hot topic right now. And I think constantly all companies and all CEOs are trying to figure out, what's the best thing to do now, right? And I think over the years we made several attempts at several things, and some of them were good, some of them were bad, right? I think now that the biggest challenge that we have, that everybody has, I think, as CEOs of non-AI companies, is like, what are the ways where we can really improve our consumer experience through AI, but most importantly, what are the ones where we cannot do that, right? And I mean, to give you an example, I just got this phone. I moved from iPhone to Android recently, and he had this feature that's super cool. That it was like this text-to-speech feature, right? So you get a phone call from someone that you don't know. You just say text-to-speech, and like AI will speak to that person and let you know what's going on. Guess what? The moment you do it, everybody hangs up, right? So they just don't talk, right? And it's like, okay, that theoretically seems a great idea, but no one wants to speak to AI, right? And as well for us, I think there's many things where we made mistakes. I think this all AI prompting, where you can order through prompts, etc. I think it's a super cool idea. I think in few months or few years will work, but as of now, people still prefer kind of a super good curated list of restaurants that is tailored around your preferences, etc. But on the other side, maybe there are other opportunities in customer support where AI could play a big role, or sales, where you can have salespeople that are agents that find restaurants that want to join your platform, etc. So I think there are so many opportunities out there. We made mistakes, we made some good choices, and I think the learning there is like just to be a bit more patient. Just don't try to rush into everything just to say, okay, I'm doing something about it, right? And really think deeply of what customers want.
But you do have to try things, right? I think there's some courage in not being paralyzed by all the bright, shiny objects out there. At least, in my view, I think at least you're trying these things, and mistakes are okay.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. But I think it's not that you can try among three things. Right now in the AI world for companies, there are 300 opportunities, right? And picking at least the 20 you want to try is already a challenge, right? And because everyone has an opportunity cost somehow, right? So trying and failing is absolutely okay, but spending time to really understand what customers want, I think, is equally important.
Yeah, fair enough. Andrew.
Okay. I think I make an enormous number of mistakes. And I think if you're a CEO and you make 100 decisions a week and you get 75% right, you're making 25 bad decisions a week. 52 weeks a year, that's 1,300 bad decisions a year. Right? I mean, that's the math. And you're doing pretty well if you're making 75% good decisions. And I think you have to get comfortable with it. Number one. Number two, I think you need to not make the same mistake again, right? You should be always looking to make new mistakes, to learn from the previous mistakes. Go out and seek new mistakes. Number three, long ago I got comfortable telling my team when I made a mistake. I think one of the reasons so many of my team have chosen to work with me over the last 4 or 5 companies is I don't bullshit them, ever. When I made a mistake, I tell them I made a mistake. When I don't know the answer, I tell them I don't know the answer. And I think you, rather than looking bad as a CEO, you look good. All our thinking has mistakes, all our code has bugs in it. And when you're very honest with your team, I don't know the answer. I'm going to solve this in the same way you, Mr. Engineer, is going to solve any other problem. I'm going to talk to people who know more. I'm going to research. I'm going to plan. I'm going to have my code reviewed. I'm going to right? This is how you handle the unknown. And then if it doesn't work, you go back to your team and said, here's the post-mortem. I made a bad decision. Here's the things that led me to a bad decision, and here's why we're not going to make that bad decision again. And I think it humanizes the role. It makes the role accessible. And it allows people to try and take risks when they see leadership also making mistakes.
Totally.
right? There's no illusion that we're perfect. For all you CEOs and leaders out there, I think that's a terrible thing, the illusion that you know everything and that your decisions are right. I think that's not, that doesn't build the right culture, a culture where people take risks. I think once everybody knows that, you know, you're going to make bad decisions, you're going to learn from them, you're going to get better, it empowers them to take risks, try things that they hadn't done before. That's the way we think about it.
I'm glad you brought up culture, because I wanted to ask both of you about that. As you've expanded to lots of different locations and offices, and you're expanding globally. Talk about culture. I mean, we talk a lot about it. We have a bunch of ideas of what that means, but what does it mean for both of you? And how do you maintain a culture, an intentional culture, in your companies?
You have a huge number of employees across many countries. Yeah. So it's a really hard problem for you guys.
No, I think talking about culture is always very hard to
it is.
do it in 2 bullets, right? But I think for me, what it boils down, it's really a couple of things. And the first one is you want to have people that see a vision, that buy into the vision, but at the same time they are fully empowered to deliver and to build the path they feel it's right to get there, right? So it's kind of not telling everybody what exactly to do, but telling everybody where do we want to go, and they figure out, because if you hire smart people, that's what they will do. And the second one is really, I, as an employee, as all the employees of the company, I want people to feel happy to come to work every day, and I think that's at the end of the day the most important thing, right? So if you don't feel happy, yes, there might be something wrong we're doing, or this may not be the right fit for you, right? But at the end of the day, you have to feel empowered and you have to feel happy, right? And everything we do around that is just strategy, tactics to get there with our team, right? Once these 2 elements are there, I think people will push as hard as they can to achieve that common vision that everybody has.
Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to IPOs real quick, because we've got about 3 minutes left. Andrew, I'll let you answer this first. What are you doing, and I know you've already IPO'd, what are you doing to prepare for your IPO? And then I want you to talk a little bit about that journey and where that's taken you. But let's dig into that real quick. We've got about 3 minutes left.
Preparing for an IPO in the U.S. is a long and painful process. And here's just some things that happened. Our legal department went from 3 to 8. Our finance department went from 8 to 20. Regulatory and compliance quadrupled. I mean, all of these are things that are necessary to prepare just for the administrative weight of going public. I think it puts vastly different pressure on your ability to forecast both your sales and revenue as well as on your engineering deliverables, right? You have to bring in a new level of discipline in your ability to predict the future. I think in the private market, you can sit with your investors, you can explain what happened, they can sort of understand. When you've got millions of investors, they don't care. They don't care about your excuses, they don't care. They care if you made your number, they care if your revenue, if your gross margins, if your net margins, they evaluate you on a very small number of metrics. And you have to organize your entire organization around the way you're going to be measured. And I think that's a huge change from being a startup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think the story of Talabat is a bit different because in 2015 it was acquired by Delivery Hero, which is a larger group. Nicholas is the CEO, is sitting here in the first row. But because he's an unconventional thinker and is 75% of the times right, maybe more. He decided last year, okay, we should go public, and it went a bit like that. He called me, it's like we should go public, and we should do it by December. And I put down the phone, and then I called him back, and I say, you mean December 2025, right? It was like, no, December 2024, and that was like 4 months ahead, right? And so I think we were lucky enough because we were part of a listed group already, so we were kind of a bit almost ready, but it was a lot of work for that. And I think after we went public, I realized what another leader I worked for in my past happened to be true, and this was when I was at Uber, and we were like a group of employees that were started with Uber at the very, very beginning, and everybody was pressuring Travis, the CEO back then, to go public because we all wanted to get our stock options worth, basically. Right. And it was like, no, I don't want to go public, because the moment we go public is when employees start focusing on working, and they start focusing on the share price every single day. And it was right? Because when you go public, then you have all investors and employees and everybody focusing on that, right? But I think the role of the CEO is like more to think about the next 5 years rather than the next quarter, and you don't want to be forced into that thinking.
Well, guys, I could have talked to you for a lot longer. Wish we'd have had more time, but thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.